Have you guys heard about the theory that there might be feral people living in the US national parks? Keep watching to find out. Hello, Hornites and family, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just wanted to give my new sunglasses a moment to shine. Okay, that's good. So with that being said, let's get into the video.
I'm Edna Keith's mother. I was visiting my parents in Ritter, Oregon, and so I said, "Oh, where's your brother?" And he said, "Oh, he went around the barn." Then we went back to find him, and he wasn't there.
According to Oregon State Police, there are 41 missing children in Oregon.
It's an unknown what happened to these people. It extends far beyond just kids.
Hundreds of people vanished from our national parks and forests under very unusual but very similar circumstances.
In a lot of these cases, search and rescue, or the volunteers searching people, have already gone over certain areas, not once, not twice, but even dozens of times. And then the child is found there, maybe a year, maybe a few years later.
I think that I'm actually sitting here holding my son. But this is what I have left of him.
We're talking about a very large, even worldwide collective of information here.
And we turned around, and here was this little toddler walking out of the fog with absolutely no clothes on at all.
Well, it's troubling. You know, I got members of my search and rescue that aren't sleeping too well.
If you have areas that you don't even know there's missing people, it makes it really difficult to reinvestigate when more information comes.
Some of these situations are so unusual you have to think beyond the bounds of what's normal.
One of the reports says, well, the reason why you didn't find any DNA or blood or anything on Jared's clothing is because either he or something removed his clothing. There's just too much. There are too many questions that don't have answers.
When did the FBI get involved?
What was it?
Family's been accused of drug use and of sleeping with certain people.
Everybody thinks, well, I'll come up to a polygraph. Go ahead. Go right on ahead. I have nothing to hide.
You know, everybody wants an answer. Hopefully someday we'll come up with one.
Does the National Park Service keep a list of missing people in their parks?
So a couple months ago, I came across a very interesting article while I was doing research for my channel. And in this article, it was talking about cannibals and feral people in our US national parks. The article also stated several cold cases of missing people in these parks. But before I get into the meat of this video, I wanted to say that there are people out there that are pretty much debunking this theory. They're saying that the poverty rate around the Smoky Mountains is extremely high, which can lead to some people living off of the land and not eating people. So as I said in my other videos, these are just theories. They're not meant to hurt anyone or any company. And you can believe whatever it is that you want, with respect, of course. So this theory or hypothesis might have gotten its steam back in January when a TikTok user uploaded a video explaining how her and her family were camping in Big Bend National Park, which is located in West Texas. Here's the video. So as you can tell from that video, her and her family were staying at this campsite and they were on the patio when they started hearing the yelling and screaming. She then contacted the park ranger and the police to come investigate what they had heard. But they found nothing, and when she went back the next day to talk to them about the event, nobody knew what she was talking about. And here's her other video where she kind of explains a little bit better. Take a look.
Story time on the screams. Last week, my husband and I and our daughter went camping at Big Bend National Park. On our 5th night, we decided to stay at the lodge in the basin to take showers and do some laundry before we went to camp some more. My husband made spaghetti and then accidentally dumped it into the sink when he went to drain it, so we were on the patio like pouting about our dinner being ruined. All of a sudden he was like, "Shh, what is that?" And we started listening. And all this chaos had broke out and there was like multiple screams and I couldn't tell anything apart at first. And then this lady was like going on and screaming, and all of a sudden I could hear like, we're gonna die. And then there was more screaming, and I mean like primitive screaming, just like along with like words. And at one point she said, I love you. I thought she said John, but I wasn't sure. Just know that. I love you, just know that. Then this kid screamed, Mommy. Sorry. And then there was a man screaming, and it just kept going on. At one point they said help and call a park ranger. Sorry, I'm shaking. So we called the police. They directed us to the park. My husband offered to drive up to the cottages, which were between us and the trail, and there was nothing. Everyone I asked the next day was clueless.
So then her video sort of became a snowball when other users started commenting and putting it in their own stories from when they also went to national parks and crazy things started happening. So getting back to the subject of this video, some have cited feral people are maybe to look for some kind of answer. A feral person can be defined as somebody who isolates themselves from the outside world and is living an alternate lifestyle. There was even a rumor that a 6-year-old was kidnapped by feral people by the Smoky Mountains. The boy, whose name was Dennis Martin, went camping with his family and then disappeared and was never seen again. While looking for the boy, one man stated that he saw something in the woods and thought it was a bear, but then he later believed that it was a disheveled looking man, and that's where a lot of the rumors started coming around that someone or something was living in the woods. There are also a lot of articles that you can find all over the internet about people that have gone missing in these national parks. There are also books on this topic as well. One of those books by journalist John Billman, and it's titled The Cold Vanish: Seeking the Missing in North America's Wildlands. So in this book, Billman centers on the cold case of Jacob Gray, who was a troubled young surfer from Santa Cruz, who sets on a bike tour of Washington's Olympic Peninsula in April 2017. He doesn't go too far before he parks his bike. He then sticks 4 arrows into the ground between his bike and the road, and he disappears. A driver then reports the bike, which is loaded with Jacob's gear. The National Park Service then conducts a very brief search, revealing nothing, and concludes that Jacob may have accidentally slipped into the river flowing with the April snowmelt and that he drowned. But in 2017, over a year later, the remains of Jacob are found by using his dental records. I linked the article in the description box below if you guys want to read more about that case. Another series of books by David Polides titled Missing 411 also centers on the subject of the missing people. He is a retired police officer and now primarily does investigative work and also writes his books. So in his books, he documents the missing people and the very strange and mysterious occurrences around their disappearances. He has also published books on Bigfoot and Sasquatch. In addition to his publication, there's also a documentary on Hulu titled Missing 411, which talks about 5 separate cases where 5 children went missing across multiple decades. The children ranging from 2 to 5, and there's also an 8-year-old as well, whose bodies were found 10 to 15 miles away from their disappearance point, and some even 5,000 feet higher in elevation from where they disappeared. There's also another documentary on Hulu titled Missing 411 The Hunted, which centers on hunters going missing without a trace for hundreds of years. And that documentary came out in 2019. So throughout Missing 411, which is the documentary that came out in 2017, it delved into what happened to 2-year-old Dior Coons Jr., 3-year-old Jared Adadero, 8-year-old Samuel Bulk, and 2-year-old Keith Parkins. So it ranged from a lot of different things where people were theorizing that the parents were involved with the disappearances. It also covered extensively the search and rescue teams. There were also some theories that it was a mountain lion attack, but those were debunked. And it went into other people that might have been involved. And in one of the cases, they talked about the state of the little boy when he disappeared. So what are some other theories? They didn't really talk too much about feral people or Bigfoot or anything, but these are kind of just more of things that I've read on the internet and some of the theories that other people might think are happening to these missing people and these little kids that are also missing. Or, you know, it could be some crazy thing that we don't quite understand yet, or some creature, or just something that we can't fully really understand right now. One quote from the documentary that I took away from it was the possibility of something that's here that's pretty much been here as long as humans, but we haven't quite discovered it, or we just don't know about it, you know. All goes into the whole theory of it all. They also mentioned maybe there are kidnappers in the wilderness or things like that, but let me know what you think could be a possible answer to the missing people. Let me know in the comments down below. So the documentary ended with a very chilling title screen that basically said that if anyone wanted a list of the missing people from the national parks, they were informed that no such list existed, and to deliver one would cost $1.4 million. That was definitely something else I wanted to touch on a little bit, but I also didn't want to make this video, you know, 20 minutes long, was there really is no calculated record of people that are missing, which I of course find very strange and very unsettling, because I do like to go hiking and I do like being outside in the wilderness, but I might take a little bit of a break after doing the research for this video. They do delve into it a little bit in the documentary, but like I said, you can watch a documentary right now on Hulu. It's called Missing 411. There's also the Missing 411 The Hunted if you want to take a look at that as well. There's also a ton of articles. I've listed them in the description box below, all of my sources, so if you want to read more about it, you're more than welcome to. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I put new videos out every single Wednesday and Saturday. And don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias. Links to all that are in the description box below. And don't forget, just be kind to one another. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!